Hi everyone, my name is Dalal. I am a volunteer with DCPFAF. We're going to be starting the session in just a little bit. So if you want to gather your ingredients and just hang tight, we're going to be starting very shortly. Hey Tala. Oh wait, she just popped off. Let's see if we can get Tala back on. One moment, you guys. Okay, Tala, you're here with me. I lost you. It's okay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Okay, so let's do some introductions and we can get the session started. So, hi everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Sufra Sundays. I'm Dalal. Pronouns are she and hers. I am a volunteer with DCPFAF and I'm going to be facilitating today's session with the amazing Tala. Just a little bit about DCPFAF. DCPFAF stands for the DC Palestinian Arts and Film and Arts Festival. It's an annual project highlighting the work of Palestinian artists and filmmakers, not only in Palestine, but around the world. And by doing so, we showcase the complexity and diversity of Palestinian identities and narratives. So Sufra Sundays in particular is an August weekly series that we're doing every Sunday at 2 p.m. And through this series, we're learning from amazing culinary geniuses just like Tala every week. This fall is going to be the 10th year that DCPFAF will be having, a festival. It's going to be a digital festival this year. So you can stay tuned through our social media, and all of our handles are DCPFAF. So without further ado, this is Tala, everyone. Tala is our host for the day. She is born and raised in Palestine. She received her culinary degree from Seattle Culinary Academy, which is an amazing achievement. And, I think it's better to learn about you from you than instead of me talking about you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Tala?
First of all, thank you for having me here. It's such an honor. Second of all, my name is Tala BaniOdeh. I'm from Palestine. I was born and raised in Nablus. I come from a family, both of my parents are from two amazing villages in Nablus. One's called Tamun, and my mom's come from Betiba. I grew up eating a lot of great, amazing, fresh produce. So that's where all this started, from my grandparents' fields of olives and fruits and all of that. I moved to States 2 years ago to do my culinary program, and I just graduated last June. And we're gonna be making today some flatbread and feta chicken. And I'm very excited to start with you guys.
We're excited to learn from you. Can you tell us a little bit more about the dishes? What can people maybe prepare, prior to you starting to cook? Is there anything that people can get ready?
Sure. First of all, we're gonna start with the bread, but before that, if you'd like to just start chopping your veggies like the onions, eggplants, tomatoes, what else, and just kind of mix everything out. Just prep it ahead so you can just cook it easily and fast.
Is there a certain way that they should be cutting the vegetables, like finely,
Yeah,
roughly?
so basically, we're gonna do both the onions and tomatoes. We're gonna chop them like a medium dice. For the eggplants, we're gonna peel them first, and we're gonna add just like squeeze some lemon and salt so they don't oxidize, or when you want to fry them, so they don't absorb a lot of oil.
Sounds good. And maybe can you tell us how you came to learn these recipes yourself?
Yeah, so the first dish ever I cooked in my life was fette djaj, actually chicken. And we have different kinds of fette. We have chickpeas fette, eggplants, and chicken. And the first one I tried was the chicken when my favorite aunt, I hope that she's watching me now, she gave me my first cooking book, and I was maybe in the 8th grade or something like this. And that's when I started like doing other than just sandwiches and some fast like breakfast for the family. And I just followed the recipe, and then starting from there, everyone started loving this recipe that I used, and I just started like kind of adjusting my kind of flavors. And then I started cooking more other dishes. But feta batajan is one of my favorite because my mom doesn't eat eggplants. And whenever we go any place, nobody cooks eggplants for us because my mom doesn't eat it. So I always crave eggplants, and I always try to cook it whether in maqlube or batajan mahshi or in fette. And I think it's a really nice kind of brunch appetizer or dish to have. Not everyone likes to have it as a main dish. I think it's fulfilling because it has bread, it has eggplants, it has also the sauce, the yogurt and tahini sauce, and all the nuts and good stuff, and also the meat and chickpeas, which is optional. You can always have it as a vegetarian option or with meat.
So looking at the chat through our various platforms, I think one really important question that people want to know is what's the name of your favorite aunt? Who's your favorite aunt?
Khalto Ghana. Her name's Ghana.
Well, hopefully none of your other aunts are jealous now.
Well, I love them all. Like all great. They cook amazing food. Yeah.
Well, while you were talking, I actually was interested to maybe hear more about you and like how old were you when you started cooking? What brought you to pursuing a culinary career?
So I think my first memory of being like very passionate about food is when my dad used to make us sandwiches for school, and he's like he loves food a lot, and even when he does like very simple sandwiches for school or even for breakfast or dinner, he just always talks about food passionately. And he comes from a village where he understands and appreciates like the everything that they grow. And even his dad like sells a lot of the farmers produce, so he comes from a place where he's used to eat everything fresh and everything from the farm to the table. So talking all about the food with him, and even getting all these fresh ingredients into my house, even that I grew up in the city, just made me just fall in love with food. And then I start like seeing my aunts, like all of them cooking. So that made me more interested in and appreciate the all the produce that comes from the lands of my grandparents, and even the farmers around, and the hard work. And also like Palestine is all about the Holy Land is all about the olives, and all the fresh and ingredients, and all of that. So just eating all these fresh stuff made me fall in love with food, and that's how I started like getting into the culinary world.
One question from Michael, is fatet batinjan your favorite dish? And if it's not, then what is your favorite dish?
It's not my favorite dish. Actually, I don't have a favorite dish. I kind of have favorite kind of mixes. Anything that has garlic, cilantro, olive oil, za'atar, all these mixes is just, I would eat anything that has all these stuff. But for sure, maqlube is one of my favorite. Mlukhiyya too. What else? Waraq dawali, everything.
Awesome. We got a compliment on your apron from Jinan, which is, your apron is so cute.
My brothers-in-law for my graduation.
Aw.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe, how do you feel about getting started with cooking?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So
I'll pop out, but I'll come back in.
okay, great. So we'll be starting with I hope everyone can see this, with the sage. So if you don't have an electric mixer, it's fine if you use a bowl. Just be aware, because we're gonna use, first of all, I have 3 cups of flour over here. I'm gonna add a pinch of salt, and then add my tablespoon and a half of vegetable oil. Also, I'm gonna get my boiling water over here. We're gonna add 1 cup of boiling water at first. If you're not using an electric mixer, please don't put your hand. Use a spatula, because we're gonna scrape down the bowl as we go. And we're gonna add more room temperature water as we go also, but we're gonna start with the 1 cup of water, boiling water. I'm gonna let it stir on speed 2. I'm gonna get room temperature water. Scrape down your bowl to get everything mixed. This is gonna be a little bit messy because it's flour. I'm gonna add only only like half a cup, although I have like a cup and a half. Gonna let it Just added half a cup. Let me show you. Hope everyone can see. I'm gonna add more. Because I also have extra flour to flour my surface. We want it to go so we can pour more gluten in this. When it starts kind of sticking to the sides, that's when you know it's ready.
Hey, Tala.
Yes.
Just a question. Do you have any advice for anyone who might not be using a mixer and might be doing this by hand?
So if you're doing it in a bowl, you need to use, first of all, your spatula first, and then I'm gonna transfer it into my surface so I can mix it more. As it so it gets to this. It just needs a lot of handwork if you're not using your mixer. 1 second, let me just show you. So let me move this. Might just get stuck sometimes. So it's like this. Okay, and it's very sticky, as you can see. So we're gonna add some flour on here and just start working it using our hands, and then it doesn't need to be rested. We're gonna cut it into 8 balls, and I think you're just gonna need a spatula at first, and then use some flour and keep going, and then transfer it into a surface that you can work on.
Awesome. And can you tell us, I'm about to pop out of this after asking this question, but can you tell us maybe what are some good items to eat this bread with, or what to pair it with when it's done?
Sure. So flatbread, you can eat it with, since we, as Palestinians, we love a lot of dips, and you can make baba ghanoush, you can make hummus, you can make even falafel. What else? زيت وزعتر, of course, halloumi, جبنة نابلسية, all of that you can eat it for breakfast. Yeah, anything you can use to dip with, it can work. So I'm gonna add flour to my, I hope everyone can see this. It's gonna get messy, just so you know. I'm gonna add more flour to my hands. And as you can see, it should be this sticky. Okay. And I'm gonna add more flour. And try to put more flour on your hand, because it's gonna get stuck. And just work the dough. So for the room temperature water, I only used half a cup. You can always, if you're doubling your recipe, you can double all the ingredients that are listed. I put from cup to 2 cups, just to make sure in case you added too much flour or so on. So I'm gonna cut this into 8 bowls, around like, it's gonna be around 4.5 ounces each bowl. And what else? Yeah, we're gonna only bake around 3 to 4 because, of course, the first 2 to 3 loaves they're gonna go wrong for sure because this is bread, and I'm not an expert with bread, but
Hey Tala, so we had some questions coming in. I thought I would just ask while you're working with the bread.
Mhm.
Can you tell us who taught you to make this dish, and do you have any memories associated with it?
Yes. So I've seen my grandmother, may her soul rest in peace, make this bread from scratch. And also on my dad's side of my aunts also still make this bread, but I didn't learn it from them. I tried to follow their recipes, but didn't work out really great with me because they just kind of eyeball everything. So it was very hard for me to just redo the same recipe as they do it. I just kept kind of recipe testing a lot of recipes online and with the help of my friend from school too. And I got to this amazing recipe, and yeah. So we're just forming the bread or the into bowls, just the portions. And you also you want to put them in a place. Let me just show you. I have a towel over here so they keep the moisture. And because that was going to help the bread to stretch. And you still want it to be moist, not too dry, to stretch easily on the pillow that I just made, because this is how they do it back home using a specific pillow. But I kind of managed to make a round pillow and have a pillowcase so I can just put it on the sage. If you don't have a pillow, you can always use a really large bowl and put a pillowcase on it. That also works. If you don't have a sage like I do here, I'll show it more. You can see it. If you don't have this, you can always use a wok. Just put it out upside down and heat it up and just put the bread on top of it. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure people are going to ask this, so I'm going to ask it first. Where can we get a sage like the one that you have? Because it looks so cool.
I got it from Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, Amazon is where it's at.
So
we have a question from Bassett. Chef Tala, what inspires you to keep cooking Palestinian food when most chefs prefer to go down the classical European style foods such as French or Italian?
Right. So this is my friend Bassett, who's also a chef. He lives in Egypt. He's Palestinian, and very talented. So what inspires me is to keep our heritage and culture alive, since Palestinian food is being represented outside of Palestine as Israeli, and it means a lot to me that people know where I'm coming from, and just show what Palestinians can do with food. And it's just a way of like showing who I am and where I grew up. So I also aspire to learn other cuisines and kind of learn how to do a lot of fusions. But I think Palestinians need to represent their culture and their food as much as they can, due to everything that's happening in Palestine. So I'm just gonna heat up my sage on high. If you have a wok, you don't have a sage, as I told you, just flip it upside down on the burner top, put it on high until it's very hot. And what else? And I'll show you in a bit how we're gonna do this.
Another couple of questions coming in. One question from Sally. Do you like yogurt with your fette?
Absolutely. What's a feta without yogurt?
I agree. Another question coming in is how long will it take for the bread to bake?
Just like a couple of seconds if you have your wok or your sage really hot, because it's going to be very thin. Let me just block it in. Yeah, so it should be very quick because you're going to try to make it very thin. If people, if you can't get it very thin, it's okay. It's just going to take you longer time, but it should be very quick.
Comment from Neda, great alternative to use a wok if you don't have a sage. I wouldn't have thought of doing that. That's really cool. Do you have advice for people who are using a wok instead of a sage?
Just say like keep your eye on the on like if it's on very high heat, just try to adjust it so you don't kind of burn or get a very crispy side and the other side is soft, or you don't want it to be very very crispy. You still want it to kind of fold easily.
Another comment from Majd. Tala makes the best fette. She just made it for us last week.
Thank you. That's my sister.
I love the support from the family. Your family is out here, and this is family goals. All this support. It's so great. Jinan asks, what drink or beverage would you recommend we have with this dish?
For fette? What kind of drink you're looking for? Like, because usually people would make, if it's like for brunch or for Ramadan or stuff like this, we'd make like amaradin, we'd make tamar hindi, we'd also make, what else we make? Kharoub. All of these can go well with these dishes for Ramadan or occasions, because usually people do such dishes for like gatherings, because it needs a little bit more work. And also, I'm using the sage bread just because let's learn how to make sage, but usually people use pita bread and they fry it. But I'm not gonna fry the sage bread. I'm just gonna bake it and roast it a little bit in the oven, because I think it's healthier not to, I mean, we're frying the eggplants, so I don't think we need to fry the pita bread too. So yeah, I'm using sage for that instead of pita. Yeah.
Awesome. Selma says, cannot wait for Tala to come back to Palestine and make us all the good food. So you've got people waiting for your food.
Right.
So I'm going to pop out again, Tala, but I will be back in here soon with more questions.
Great. So I just got one of the bowls that I formed before, and we're going to start from the center and go to the, like this, just kind of trying to spread it. And then we're using the roller, just gonna and we're doing like this, and then we're going to the other side and we're spreading it more. We're trying to stretch it as much as we can before we put it on the pillow. And as I said, you can also use just a really large bowl and put a pillowcase or a cheesecloth and use it as, I'll show you right now when we just stretch it more. Also, I hope this works from the first time, because see. So I try to kind of put it on my hand like this before I put it on the pillow, just to just shake off some of the extra flour so it doesn't burn on the sage or the wok that you're gonna use. I'm not an expert, so don't expect me to just go and flip it on my hand. So this is the pillow. Let me just put this right here for a second. This is the pillow that I made, kind of. This is a pillowcase. Use a rubber band over here. And I'll just put it here on top where you have holes. And I'm gonna try to stretch from the center to the sides. So just keep stretching. It's okay if you have a couple of holes here and there. We're already gonna kind of tear it up for the fette, but for the other, we're gonna use maybe 2 breads of the sage bread, but for the rest, as you go, you're gonna get better, so it's fine. I'm also trying to tell myself it's okay. Okay, I think this is good. This should be hot, the sage. Okay, so I'll just show you how I spread my sage bread. And let's hope this is gonna be okay. Just so we're just gonna flip it on top like this. Let it cook. Let's see. So it's very hot. You should use tongs, but I'm not using tongs because I don't want it to kind of tear because it's very thin, as you see. So I got some sides that are thicker than the center. Just want to check still. And also you want another kind of towel to wrap your ready bread so it doesn't get dry. So as you can see that there's some kind of bubbles forming over here. That means it's getting ready to be flipped.
Tala, seeing you flip the bread, the dough from the pillow onto the sage is probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. And it's reflected in the comments that we're getting about it being mind-blowing. So thank you for showing us that.
You're welcome.
There's so much love from your family and your friends in the chat. So I wanted to ask, can you tell us about like your family background and about your family?
Yeah, so so for now I live with my sister Majd and her husband and their new baby born Mida. And I have other 2 sisters, one in Palestine and one in Dubai. So we grew up in Nablus, as I said, and everyone, we're very different. I mean, I'm not only one. Maybe my sister also loves to cook, and my mom has like few signature dishes that she cooks amazingly, like msakhan and djaj mahshi and mlokhiyeh. But I think we got the love for food from our dad, as I said, who grew up in a village eating farm to table food. And all of the friends that are commenting now who are either from Palestine or Jordan, because I lived in Jordan before I moved here. And I'm the youngest in the family, so I'm the baby here. And I get very spoiled, as you see. I got the sage for Christmas. And they're very supportive of me. They supported me going to culinary school, even when I was going to do my bachelor degree in Jordan in public relations and advertising. They just wanted me to be happy, and that's when I decided to move here. And yeah, I'm very lucky to have them.
Yeah, I can see that just through their messages. That's amazing. Just a few comments and questions here. One message from Juliana who says, "Can't wait for you to come to Brazil. Please come." So
yeah. This is my friend Juliana from Brazil. I met her in India. And that was my turning point where I realized that I want to cook, and take cooking as my career. Because going to India, I went there for an exchange program, and I fell in love with Indian food and the culture and the spices, and coming from the Middle East where we use a lot of spices, and I connected in a way or another. And that's when I was like, oh, I think this is what I want to do. And this is when I started kind of switching my path into cooking more and learning more about food, and even just through the internet, just seeing food bloggers and chefs online. And this is this is the start, going to India on an exchange. And then I was like, okay, I want to cook.
That's amazing. And I'm sure that was an amazing trip on its own. One question from Sally: when eating fette, do you like salad on the side? If not, what would you eat with it?
I wouldn't usually eat. So I'm not a picky eater, but I don't usually mix two dishes together unless it's like maqlube with salata or laban or mjaddara or stuff like this. But if the dish has the sauce and the bread and the nuts and everything, I would prefer just to enjoy it's only the only flavor that it has. If I would definitely fette would go great with salata on the side, or because it's usually kind of I would say kind of a cold dish, not a very hot dish. So it would go great with salata for sure.
Another question about the dish: are the towels damp? The towels that you use?
No, they're not.
Okay. And then comment that you from Juliana again that you were the official cook of the house.
That's right.
And Jinan asks, do you still visit Palestine?
Yeah, so unfortunately I was supposed to be there this summer, but when I moved here, I visited last year, and for sure I still have all my family, my friends, everything. But the reason I came here was definitely to study first. But yeah, we're gonna flip again.
Here we go, the amazing flip.
Let's hope.
That's honestly one of the coolest things I think I've seen anybody do. Comment from Polo: Mila is the baby of the family now.
That's right, because I used to be the baby and now we have a new member. Thank you for reminding me.
And then Leanne says, please design a sufra for us. And then a question that I'm seeing is, how do you tell your story and who you are through your food? How do you personally connect to food? I'm actually going to come off the screen and let you take it away from there.
I connect with food. As I said, it means a lot to me to represent Palestine, and just seeing all the effort and the love that both my like both of my family's side, that they put into the fields of olive oils and olive trees, and the fruits that they have made me connect to how the 7.2 million Palestinians who are across the world feeling, or only imagine how they are feeling towards their lost homelands. So it makes me feel responsible to represent Palestine in a way or another, and bring the best out of our culture and food, because Palestinians love cooking, love gathering, love celebrating, and it's a way to show love. And food always gathers people, and I feel this is how I started kind of expressing myself through food to my family, making them breakfasts and dinners, and yeah, that's how I connect to food. It's just showing love. So farm to table wasn't it wasn't like not a thing in Jordan or India. It was nice to see like farmers in India that like sell their food and just cook it for all the interns that were living with me. But in Jordan, I tried to cook as much as I can, but it wasn't possible because I was trying also to study and all of that. But in Palestine, it was the most time that I experienced farm to table. As I said, just being around family and getting all the produce that we can get. In the States, going to culinary school, I learned a lot about farm to table and the importance of eating seasonal and sustainable food, and how much it changed your perspective around food, to eat things that you grow and you kind of put an effort to see, like to transfer from being the ground to your table. It makes me appreciate all the hard work for the farmers and how much we need to support our like local farmers and local markets, and how it makes a difference. Even eating all this food, like it makes a difference when you eat something seasonal and from the land that's like around you, from just getting food from places that you don't know where did it grow, or not seasonal even. We're gonna make another one and then switch to making the fette, because we're gonna use only 2 or 3. But you can always store the rest of bread in the freezer and just reheat it and use it for dips and or other fettes if you like. Okay, just gonna it's a lot of flour over here. Nice. Let's just
Tala, do you have any advice as to how thin the bread should be?
as thin as you can go. It's the better. But it's fine if it was thicker than this. I don't see, like, it depends of what you want to use it for. Like if you're not comfortable making it very thin, or as you can see have a lot of holes in here because you want to use it for sandwiches. You can go thicker, and yeah. But you want to make sure that it cooks all the way in, so it doesn't get like doughy or.
And how can we typically tell that it's done cooking on the stage?
So I'll show you in this one when it gets a second. There's, as it's cooking, there's gonna be a little bit of like bubbles around here, and that's when you want to flip it for the other side for another 5 seconds, and then you're done. So I'm just gonna clean up here a little, so we can start with the فتة باذنجان. And I'll show you.
We had a question come in about your time in India. What were your favorite dishes, and what are your thoughts on samosas?
I love samosas, and anything, I mean, chicken tikka is my favorite. So the funny story is that I went to India, which is like vegetarian, because I didn't eat a lot of meat back then, or chicken or anything. I went there vegetarian, and when I saw that one stand that's making chicken tikka, I was like, that's it. I ate chicken again, but their chicken tikkas are amazing. Butter chicken, aloo masala, all the dals and the naans and garlic naan and all of that is just amazing. If anyone has a favorite Indian dish or even Middle Eastern, you can tell us more about it.
Another question that we got from Sally: when visiting Palestine, where's your favorite city to go, and what place in that city?
Definitely my hometown, Nablus. I mean, I love all other cities, but this is like Nablus is kind of the center of Palestine, where you can go and eat all the good food and all the good sweets as well. So if you want to have a really nice trip and eat all the very authentic Palestinian dishes, I would suggest Nablus. And the old city is one of my favorite places to go. Grab produce or just wander around and try the street food there.
So since you're from Nablus, you know this question is coming. What are your thoughts on kanafe?
Let me just show you how it's kind of getting some bubbles here, air bubbles over here. So this is when you know it's ready. Yeah. What was the question?
Since you're from Nablus, the question is, what are your thoughts on kanafe? Do you have a favorite recipe?
So a lot of people are gonna kind of get angry at me because I'm not a sweet person. Like, I don't like sweets. And knafe is not my favorite. There you go, I said it. I prefer khdoud sit or ftir more. I honestly never tried to make knafe because I'm more into savory things. But if you want to try the best knafe in the world, it's going to be in Nablus. But yeah, but if I have to eat knafe, then I would eat it khishne instead of naame.
I'm team khishne too, so good answer.
Yeah. Good.
A great question from Polo. What are some things you have learned along the way up till now in life and as a chef?
Things that I've learned. I think that you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to, like, I'm a person who always wants to get things right from the first time. So this is something that was difficult for me to just get used to. When you're in the kitchen, you don't know how things gonna turn, and when you try new things, you always wanna just put more effort or more patient into whatever you're doing, so you don't get disappointed, or just kind of be more easygoing and less hard on yourself, and keep trying more than one time. And it needs practice, and it needs patience, and yeah, and it's okay if you don't get whatever you want from the first time, from the first try. And even now that I've done this recipe, like this is my, I don't know, third, fourth time that I did it. It's still not perfect, but I'm still looking to doing it in a better way every time and each time to get to the result that I want.
That is a great philosophy. So clearly you're not only talented, but wise as well. Just some more comments coming in, and feel free to let me know if I need to stop with the questions so you can keep moving on. Fatima says, we miss eating your fateh, Tala. Yours tastes amazing.
Thank you.
Rafiq says, Tala is humble. Not only she's a great cook, but also a gifted artist. Lovely seeing you do what you've always been passionate about. Lots of love in these messages.
Thank you. These all are my friends who I love the most. I'm just trying to tidy up here so we can have more space to make the fateh batajan.
Okay. Let's see here. Jinan has an interesting question. In America, African Americans have a different cuisine than white Americans. Do you think Afro-Palestinians have a different type of cuisine, or is it the same?
I think it's the same, because Afro-Palestinians have been existing in Palestine for a really, really, really long time. And they're more in Jerusalem and Jericho, and it's just the same traditional Palestinian foods.
Michael has an interesting point. He says, I feel like kanafe would be good with a smoky syrup. That's a way to make it savory.
Sure. Sure.
Okay. Yes, I'm going to let you take over again, okay?
I'm going to put my... Oops, 1 second. Okay. So we're going to start on making... I hope everyone can see this. Yep. We're going to start on frying the eggplants. We're going to keep it on medium high. Let's see. This is good. You want to have your plate that you're going to transfer your eggplants on, and a lot of towels, because it absorbs a lot of oil. You're going to also have here, we're going to cook the meat in here, and I put like a tablespoon of oil in this cast iron. You can do it in any other pan. And I have around here a cup and a half of oil for the eggplants. So let me show you so I have here the onions and garlic, chickpeas, and the tomatoes that I peeled and diced. Put here. I also have my 7 spices and cinnamon, the best investment in the world, which is pomegranate molasses. So I couldn't find tamarind molasses, but I had some seedless tamarind that I kind of put in the blender and added some hot water, and this is what you get. You don't have to put it. I just love the sourness of tamarind in it. You can only use the pomegranate. What else we have? Yeah, and I have over here the eggplants that I cut kind of a medium dice, and I squeeze some lemon and salt so they don't have a lot of water in them. So yeah. And how to test the oil when it gets hot in a bit. You just need to put one piece, and if it's kind of sizzling, you can add the rest. You don't want to overload your pan so the temperature doesn't go low, but you definitely don't want to put a few because that's a lot of eggplants to fry.
People are loving your Palestinian plates, Tala. Where did you get the dishes from?
All the way from Palestine, from Khalil.
From Khalil, from Hebron. Another question we have is, please explain the difference between the two types of kanafe that we mentioned.
So one is like very thin noodles, the coarse knafe, and one is very fine semolina dough. That's the difference. But and also I discovered that some people, so in Nablus we use sweetened Nablus cheese. Some areas they use like clotted cream and nuts, and they layer it differently. It's different from one place to another, but I would say the original way is from Nablus, which is with Nablus cheese, sweetened Nablus cheese, and a lot of pistachio on top, and some kind of simple syrup too. So I'm just trying to sweat my onions, and I'm adding the garlic later so it doesn't get burned, because it burns easily. And then I'm adding the meat, and I'm cooking the meat a little bit, then adding the tomatoes and the chickpeas, and because the chickpeas are canned, so they're already cooked, you don't want to overcook them. So the molasses and tamarind and spices, they're gonna go like after the tomatoes, and the chickpeas right around the end. Gonna check my oil. This is great. Please be careful with oil. That's a lot of oil. Just trying to put them all on the side and then spread them so I don't get.
One thing that you showed us earlier that I was wondering if you could talk about was the pomegranate molasses. Can you tell us what flavor it brings, and like what other dishes you would use that ingredient?
The pomegranate molasses?
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely use it with any kind of ground meat. Even when you're stuffing your zucchinis, eggplants, your grape leaves, it gives a lot of sourness and some kind of sweetness to the dish. What else? You can use it for salads, for salad dressings. You can also, let me just add, what else? You can also add it in, people kind of dip it with isha and honey, and just mix it with tahini also. So it just gives a lot, like some sourness to any dish that you make. And you also want to keep stirring your eggplants after like a couple minutes so they get kind of brown on all the sides. And as I said, that the meat is optional. I hope that you can see. The meat is optional, so you can always go vegetarian with this dish. You can just cook down the tomatoes with the chickpeas and mix it with the eggplants. When I kind of finish doing it, you'll see what I mean. I already squeezed some lemon and salt in my eggplants, so we don't need to season them. So I got my meat. This is around 1 pound. You don't have to use it all. You can have you can use half a pound. You can not use the meat at all. Just gonna lower the heat a little bit and add my meat. Just keep it on medium.
Tala, just some other questions coming in. What are your favorite methods of presenting dishes, if any?
I love just family style because that's what I grew up eating, just like in a one dish, and everyone can scoop from it. But going to culinary school, I've been trying to work on my plating skills more and more. One way I would do this dish differently is you can always cut the bread into kind of like squares and layer it in the muffin like trays and kind of put some pressure so it becomes like a cup, and then you can layer the feta in and just have it as a small appetizer that you can eat in 1 or 2 bites if you're trying to impress whoever you're cooking for. But I definitely like to cook like a family style or plate like a family style, just in really big dishes, and everyone can scoop out from it. But yeah.
A question from Juliana is, for how long should I leave the eggplants with the lemon before frying them?
I would say half an hour. Half an hour is good.
And do you have any advice for those of us who are like not super familiar with cooking with eggplants about the preparation of the eggplants prior to frying them generally?
Yeah, so I would say always try to peel them, because the peel can, like, the skin can be a little bit bitter. So if you don't like this flavor or the bitterness of the skin, you can peel it. And always lemon and salt can make it like easier for you to fry it, because we usually like fry it, or when we stuff it, it's so it doesn't get oxidized. You add to the water when you kind of soak it in water and some lemon, so just it stays good, and it takes out the bitterness of the skin.
All right, thank you for that. Comment from Neda: can we get Tala a cooking show on Food Network? I completely support that.
Are you sure about that?
If you did have a cooking show, what are some of the things that like you would love to teach the world, I guess?
I would definitely love to make more of like how to make za'atar from scratch, pickles, more of like what we call mune, just like things that you keep always in your pantry and you use in the Palestinian cuisine, how to make things from scratch, even like making cheese, Nabati cheese and stuff like this. This is something I would always love to like learn more about, and also teach people to do. I'm gonna add the potatoes.
Go ahead. Another question that we have from Jinan is, do you remove the tiny seeds of the eggplants for the fette, or do we leave them?
No, we leave them. We leave them.
Another question that we had come in was, could you talk about maybe the diversity of Palestinian cuisine, maybe the different ways you've seen of things be prepared and your own experiences?
So I just want to show you that this kind of, I don't know if you can see or tell, this kind of like brownish color is fine and okay. It's good. You can leave it a little bit longer, but this is good. You don't want to burn it. The diversity of the Palestinian cuisine. I would say that the Palestinian cuisine is kind of divided into either food with like tomato sauce or yogurt sauce or the broth itself that you cook food with, or either some kind of we call it rmas, which is like dips and fries and anything that's fried and bread, and fatat for sure. But usually it's a lot of stews, a lot of using a lot of salads, using like a lot of wild greens and a lot of wild thyme and za'atar and manaish and breads. So I would say there is a lot of also vegetarian and vegan options in Palestine, because like people usually didn't eat a lot of meat back then, because like wheat and whatever like what do you call it, legumes that we have is what we usually eat, and meat would be on occasions. So a lot of things can be adjusted to be vegetarian or vegan even. So that's something I like about the Palestinian cuisine. Just gonna use another. That's not efficient, I know. I try to turn down on the oil when I put the next batch, just because to be careful. But I turn it up when I get back. Like
Yeah.
stuff.
We have a few more questions. One from Dania. She asks if the rice is cooked last.
So we don't have. I don't put personally. I don't put rice in my fatet batinjan. We only put the bread, but I usually use rice in fatet jaj. I don't know, maybe they cook it differently. Maybe she can tell us how they make the fatet batinjan on her side.
Another question from Michaela is, what is one ingredient that you cannot live without?
That's the daily question that we always ask each other. It would be definitely yogurt. I love yogurt. I love yogurt and milk and Nablus cheese. So these things I can't see myself not eating at all, although I wish to become a vegan, but I love yogurt so much. And I think also garlic and yogurt, best mix.
Let's see here. Ahmed agrees that you must be on a cooking show. He has always imagined you as one of the best ones. Ahmed Shaban. Another question is, some people here in the States might not have like an Arab or Palestinian market near them.
Yeah.
What substitutes have you found are good substitutes for ingredients like Nablus cheese or even like the pomegranate molasses, maybe? Like,
I'm gonna add the pomegranate molasses so it cooks with the tomatoes, and the tamarind I'm gonna add it too. And also the spices, so they can cook and simmer on kind of medium-low heat. And then at the end, I'm gonna add the chickpeas. Back to your question is, Sorry, can you ask the question again? Because
yeah. So the question is, what substitutes have you found are good substitutes when people struggle with obtaining the ingredients that are unique to Palestinian or Arab dishes?
I'd always so for me, if I can't find most of the vegetables that I can't find in the markets in general, I would go to Asian stores or any Indian also stores that they can have most of the produce that we use. Also, what can we use instead of pomegranate molasses? I think tamarind, because it's also used in Asian cuisine a lot. You can use it instead. You can find it in Asian stores. And other ingredients, I was able to find a lot of stuff. But for the cheese, talking about the cheese, I tried to make my own kind of halloumi or Nablisi cheese. And the way I did it, I got some queso fresco cheese, which is Mexican cheese, and I salted it overnight. And you want it to be whole fat cheese. And I salted it overnight and let it drain in the fridge. And then the next day, I made the brine, which is salt and some mahlab and some mestique, which you can find online or on Amazon. That's how I got it. And just put it in a cheesecloth and let it boil. Then boil all the slices of cheese that you cut before and salted, and then you got halloumi cheese, and it's very easy and it's very similar to the taste. I did it before. If someone's interested to try it, they can just send me on Instagram and I can send them the way that they can do it. But I made a lot of savory pastries, marjanat from it, and it worked perfectly because it has the flavor. And yeah.
I will be asking you for that recipe later because my part of DC does not have an Arab store near it. So I'm going to message you. Just another question I'm going to pop off while you talk about this, but can you tell us about your experience at culinary school?
Sure. What do you want to know?
Just tell us all about your experience, what you learned, adjustments, lessons.
So at first, going to culinary school, where most people who worked in restaurants before was a little bit very challenging and hard for me because everyone knows all the kind of kitchen language and they already worked long shifts and long hours and did most of the stuff that I'm not used to. So I was just not even a home cook. I was barely cooking back then. So it was very challenging for me for the first quarter. We all cried because, at least me, who never had to go through any kind of knife test or be very precise and all the pressure that they put on you just to know how far you can get in this industry, or going to a kitchen in a restaurant is going to be hard and different. So first quarter, I was doubting myself, and that's when I kind of started feeling that I need to be more patient and give myself time to learn and adjust. And then second quarter, it was when you can cook a lot of different international cuisines and just kind of experiment and mess up and see what you learn and just learn the right cooking techniques and methods. And that's when I felt more myself and I felt that, oh, I can do this. And that's when I also experimented few of my Palestinian dishes. I made some Asian in school for breakfast. I made also kafta bataniye. And this is when I started being more comfortable But then going to the third quarter was more challenging because you need to just follow a specific recipe and do things that I'm not usually comfortable doing, out of my comfort zone, out of like the Middle Eastern cuisine that I'm used to like to eat or cook. So so that was very challenging and very exciting at the same time, because that's something I always wanted to do. And as I just learn from all the amazing chefs that taught me all this throughout this journey, made me more like realizing to like about my skills and about what I can achieve, because I always thought that I can only cook Middle Eastern food, and trying to do different cuisines and getting really amazing feedback is something was really just empowering to me. And also, culinary school needs a lot of patience, needs a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of tears, and at the same time, it's all worth it. I enjoyed every bit of it. This is the best thing that I've done in my whole life, and I've never been happier around my peers and around the chefs that taught me a lot of things. And yeah, if anyone's thinking about going to culinary school, just hit me up and I can tell you all about it, about how there's some days where you just want to quit and not do anything because it's so much and a lot of work and a lot of pressure. And we also, we had like 2 restaurants for the school, and we served people who come in and buy your food. So that was also a lot of pressure on me to do this not at home, to people who want to buy your food. And how like you don't only learn how to cook, you learn how to respect the food that you cook, and how to work as a team, and how to appreciate the produce and that you get, and use it all as efficiently as you can. And about even nutrition, about sustainability, how to cost everything that you buy. It was a lot of work, a lot of projects, but I had amazing peers in my class, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're willing to put the hard work in tears, then it's definitely worth it. We're cooking down the meat and tamarind and molasses and tomatoes on medium right now. Just want it to simmer. We're done with frying the eggplants.
Tala, how can we tell when the eggplants are done frying?
Let me show you the color. This is the color of the eggplants. It should be brownish, but at the same time not burned. I'll show you better when we move to the other tables.
And we have a few more comments and questions that came in. Yara says, Tala is my childhood friend. We grew up together. She used to make us very tasty sandwiches in the middle of the night, and she's been a chef since day one.
Oh, that's right. That's when it's all started. Sandwiches in the middle of the night. That's right.
And then Jinan asks, what made you switch from media studies in Jordan to culinary school?
I wasn't happy, first of all, doing media. It wasn't, I chose it, but it wasn't my my passion. I always been into like artistic like things. I used to do like handmade jewelry. I used to play guitar. I used to do a lot of things that you usually just do by hand. So, and I always enjoyed cooking. It, as I said, it's just a way for me of showing some love for people that I care about. And when I moved to India, I realized that I can be or do whatever I want. And that's when, like, even owning a restaurant or having this dream of being in a kitchen was always in the back of my mind. And I thought this is something I would do maybe in, like, I don't know, 20 years, maybe when, you know, when I get older. And then I realized that I don't get, like, it's fine. I can do it now. And I don't have to be like older to do all these dreams, and I can, if I have the chance to do it now, I can do it. And that's when I decided to do this kind of switch. I added my chickpeas. They're already cooked. I just want them to cook together for like 5. And I also salted my my meat. And this is when you should taste your food and see if it needs more seasoning. Clean spoon.
Another question that came in from Leanne. Did you see any connections to Palestinian food when studying international cuisines?
Sorry?
The question is, did you see any connections to Palestinian food when studying international cuisine?
Yes. I would say I see a lot of connection between, as crazy as it sounds, but a lot of connection between Mexican and Palestinian food, because a lot of Lebanese people are immigrants in Mexico, and they kind of had their own touch on the food. So I would say a lot of kind of the seasoning, even the fresh fruits and salsas and stuff like this. I can taste it in our salads and stuff like this, sour cream and a lot of ingredients that we both share in our own way. But that's why Mexican cuisine is one of my favorite. There's a lot of some like not only even the way they represent or plate their dishes, and it's all about family and heritage and culture. So I feel connected in a way.
That's so interesting. I don't know if I would have made that connection if you hadn't brought it up, but that's really interesting. Like, did you see similar ingredients maybe between the cuisines?
Yeah, they use a lot of cumin, cinnamon, a lot of like cilantro, garlic, tomatoes, all of those things that we usually use in our food, and that's kind of the flavor profile that I like the most.
Neda asks, what do you want to do now that you have your culinary degree?
What do I want to do? So the plan is, so I'm just heating up the oil so I can fry the pine nuts and the almonds for, just gonna let this simmer more. Okay, I'm gonna also put my oven on broil because we're gonna just give the bread some color. I think going to culinary school made me realize that working in a restaurant is very important, just to kind of hone your skills and learn more about service, and just push you to your limits where you have to put all the effort and work in. But I definitely want to just have an internship in a couple of restaurants before I take off with my career. But I'm planning on being a private chef, hopefully, and at some point have my own catering business. That's what I'm planning, just to be a private chef and and have my own catering business one day. That's going to take me a lot of effort and time, but hoping in, I don't know, 5-8 years, I can do it. I'm frying the pine nuts right now. Just gonna take out my tray and sit it here so I can just tear my bread while talking to you. So here's the bread, as you can see. I'm just gonna tear it, like bite pieces. You can use the scissors if you want. It's up to you. I'm just gonna do like 2 sausage breads over here and then broil it for a bit. And stir your pine nuts. You don't want to burn them. Don't be like me.
We have some questions that came in about your experience at culinary school.
Yeah.
People want to know how many people started and graduated, as well as what was the biggest challenge during your time at culinary school? And
that's
one of the best. Like a lot of questions. So I'll break it down, but let's go with those for now.
So I think we started as 27 students, and the people who graduated were, I don't know, we were like 12 or 13, I can't remember. But yeah, a lot of people, so in such program, like a lot of people drop out on the first quarter, because as I said, it's very challenging. It's something different, a lot of pressure, a lot of things to just learn, and whether it's like from kitchen language or skills that you need to know. But one of the challenges that I face, it's definitely how to work efficiently in a kitchen. And sorry, I'm gonna put them back. They're not ready yet. How to work with a team in a kitchen is something very hard to do or learn, because each person has their own way, and everyone don't want to be kind of just like, nobody wants to, it's not like nobody wants to be ordered or something like this. It's just a lot of people have their own way in the kitchen, and just to find the harmony to work efficiently together is something hard. And to learn about other people, because and how they approach any kind of problems in the kitchen, and how they solve it, or how they like see how they, it's just mainly about how they just solve the problem in a kitchen, because you can face anything in a kitchen, and it's very hard to repair right away, even during service. So that's one of the hardest things that I learned, to work with people who are just different, not even culturally, it's just even the language, even how everyone works in their own pace, kind of. Some people work in the kitchen, so they're faster than others, and some people are still learning, and how to be patient within each other and stuff like this.
Juliana says, I want to eat. Me too. Sally says, this makes me hungry. Me too. And Neda says, frying snowbread is my favorite sound. which is a great sound. Another half of the culinary school question is, what are some of the best tricks that you learned as a chef that you didn't know that we should know?
A lot of things. I didn't know that I should cut everything evenly so everything can be cooked evenly. I also didn't know, like your knife cuts should be good so you can cook everything evenly. I didn't also know that some things or some cuts of meat should be cooked in a way, not other, because if you cook them that way, they can be more tender, or you can like them better. Because growing up, we'd cook like all kind of meat cuts the same. And this is something I find very a lot of people in the Middle East do, is they boil the meat or in stews or stuff like this, which makes it very tough, and which also made a lot of, like, even kids don't like eating a lot of meat back there because they don't like or how the meat or the how tough the meat is in the stews and stuff like this. So learning how to like cook everything on slow and low is something I didn't know before that much. Also, I tend to overcook so many vegetables when it only needs like a couple of minutes on a grill or on the stovetop just to be ready. Like some kind of crunch in the vegetable when you grill it or something, it's not bad. It's more texture. What else? It's mostly how not to overcook things, because I think I used to overcook a lot of things. And how to also, one of the greatest things, how to do my mise en place, which is just prep all the ingredients ahead before I use them, because it makes it easier for you, and you work in a better and more efficient space and place, and you keep everything tidy and clean. I learned how to kind of multitask a lot of things, like I can do this and this, and just use the time and not take longer times to cook a dish when I can do it like in an hour. And it used to take me like 2 or 3 hours. So it's always about how to prep your food ahead, cut your things, and get all the utensils that you need ahead of time. And I'd say just learn about the pieces or like what kind of meat you're getting or cuts, so you know what's the best way to cook it. I don't think as Palestinians we have any problem with seasoning food because we love our spices, but definitely use a lot of herbs, seasonings, a lot of flavors, use all the, efficiently use all the produce that you get. Don't, like, when we make kusa mahshi, even the filling, the flesh for the kusa, which is the zucchini, stuffed zucchini, we cook the insides even when we stuff them, just like some kind of a soup or stew kind of thing. Just be more thoughtful about using all the food that you get and not waste food. That's how I would say. This is the most thing that I learned about in culinary school about food, things that I didn't know before. So I'm just gonna show you how I cut my bread over here. You don't have to have it like in one layer. I just want some color, some crunch. They don't have to be all very, very crispy. And again, a lot of people just fry fry pita bread, and that's okay. I'm just trying to be maybe healthier and use slouch bread. We're very close to layering things, so.
Some more questions and comments that came in. Sally asks, what's your favorite Arabic song?
That's a hard question. I like really old music. Like I love Kulthum, I love Fairuz. So that's my go-to usually. Or like very late 90s, beginning of like 2000, these kind of songs where like this is what I grew up listening to, and this is the kind of music that I like. But definitely try to flip your bread if you want, just to give it more color. You can use tongs, but I'm not. Yeah. But yeah, Kulthum for sure, and Fairuz. Who doesn't like them?
Another question from Robin is, do you always use vegetable oil or olive oil?
So if you want to fry things, I would say definitely vegetable oil, because it's better. But for other things, definitely olive oil. Like if you're using it for dips or for flavor, because if you use olive oil, it's just gonna absorb in the eggplants and you're gonna taste it and it's gonna be super heavy. But vegetable oil is just neutral, so it's better.
And then another question would be, how long would we keep the bread in the oven for?
Just like maybe less than a minute. I just kind of
Okay, Tala, we lost you for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so if you just want to cover what we missed over the past maybe like 15 seconds.
So let me just show you 1 second. There's a lot of mess over here. Okay, so we cooked the meat. We fried the eggplants and the nuts. I'm just gonna make the yogurt mix, which is, let me get my, we have some Greek yogurt, and we have garlic, minced garlic. Yes, that's a lot of garlic, because who doesn't like? I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit of lime, because I like lime. Or lemon, it's up to you, just for flavor. And tahini, just gonna shake it. And let me get the salt. Got the salt over here. Let me just mix it. You can add some water to this, just because Greek yogurt is very thick. Here, you just want to be more liquidy. More. Salt. Okay. Give it a taste. And add more salt. And the other half of lime. Another clean spoon. Okay, so wash my hands. Salt is there. And we're gonna start layering the fette. Okay, I'm just gonna put this over here. Okay, I'm gonna use this plate. It's also from Khalil. And I'm gonna use layer it with, first of all, I'm gonna use the bread. Put all the bread. Okay, let me show you. This is the bread. And then I'm using not all of the yogurt sauce. I'm just gonna use half of it. Just layer it this way. Okay. And then we're putting the meat on. Just get the meat. Let me show you what's going on over here. It's hard to work with laptop in my hand and other stuff. Okay. It's like, that's it. Okay, put our meat on this layer, then the fried eggplants, the next layer. just, let me show you. Okay. I bet my mom is judging me right now because the countertop is just all flour. She's like, this is not how I raised you. Okay. And then I'm gonna put the rest of the yogurt on top. Spatula. Okay. And I'm gonna, I minced some parsley because who doesn't like some parsley on top? Okay, let me wash my hands.
Tala, that looks amazing. One question you got is it better to use a wooden spoon for the meat or a metal spoon?
Sorry, say that again.
One question from Jinan is it better to use a wooden spoon for the meat or a metal spoon?
Well, I would say if you're using a cast iron wooden spoon, but if you use a wooden spoon for meat, I would say just keep using it for meat only. Don't mix like vegetable. Like if you want to use one utensil for meat or cutting board, just keep using it for that one specific thing. Don't use it for other stuff. It depends on, yeah, if you're using a cast iron or, but yeah, I would say that.
Some more comments. Juliana says, oh my God, this food looks so amazing, which it does. I am so hungry right now. Rafiat says, Mama Samira would be 100% proud.
Oh.
And Polo says, that looks incredible. And it does.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me show you. So this is the fatteh that we made today. Sausage bread in the bottom, leban, yogurt, and tahini sauce, meat and chickpeas and tomatoes, cooked in pomegranate molasses and tamarind. And then we have the fried eggplants, and then topped with more yogurt sauce, and then more parsley and pine nuts and almonds that we fried.
Tala, that looks amazing. Thank you so much for showing us how to make that. I guess maybe as we wrap up this session, like, is there anything you would like to say or any topics that you would like to bring up?
Well, thank you for having me again. And what else? I was really happy to show you guys how to do this. And the sausage recipe would take you more than one time or 2 or 3 times to perfect it or get to the result that you want. Always use a lot of seasonings and a lot of spices because that's what Palestinian food is all about. And every time, if you're not Palestinian, I would be more than happy to share a lot of more recipes or about this cuisine. And if you're Palestinian and you're trying to learn how to cook, always try to cook whenever you're abroad, just to let people know about our culture and cuisine and how amazing our food can be. Thank you for having me again.
Well said. That's beautiful. How can we keep in touch with you or follow you and see
you
where
can
you
follow
go
me
next?
on my Instagram. And yeah, I mean, that's I would say that's the most platform I use. You can also like add me on Facebook. It's the same as my Instagram name. Yeah.
All right, Tala. Well, I see a very bright future
Thank you
for
so
you,
much.
and we're all so excited to learn from you. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. Don't
Thank you,
forget to join
everyone.
us next Sunday at 2. And thank you, Tala.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.